Greetings, everyone, and welcome. September the 16th, 2025. And yes, the last 24 hours have been very telling for where we are heading later in September and into the fall. Donald Trump, for sure, as you can see by the thumbnail and by the title of the video, is applying a double standard to Ukraine and even a double standard to himself and his own administration. Zelenskyy hits that nail dead on the head. In addition to that, Zelenskyy also drops a multiplicity of truth bombs to Sky News, while Russia daytime attacking civilian enterprises in Kharkiv and Kyiv. Will show it to you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for liking, subscribing, commenting. We appreciate each and every one of you. Let's jump straight in. So here you see Zelenskyy must make a deal. Zelenskyy then, sir, Putin is tricking you. So just a little while ago, Donald Trump on the tarmac, he is heading out to Air Force One. He makes this statement, and I just listen to it, and then we'll analyze it quickly.
Well, he's going to have to get going and make a deal. He's going to have to make a deal. Zelensky's going to have to make a deal. And Europe has to stop buying oil from Russia. Okay? You know, they talk, but they have to stop buying oil from Russia. Mr. President,
okay, let's talk about this for just one moment before we get into Zelensky's big statement. First of all, he says Zelensky's going to have to make a deal. No talk of Putin whatsoever. Leave that there. Look forward to your comment on that. But let's take it a step further. The European Union is going to have to stop buying oil. And then he says, all they do is talk. Okay, I'm not going to just back down here because, yes, the European Union has done a lot to provide support for Ukraine, but there have also been a lot of talks. And yes, they are still purchasing. But I've got news for you. The United States as well is purchasing enriched uranium. Look it up, as Jania would say. Go look it up. The reality is the one who is doing the most talking since he came into office is Donald J. Trump. 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 10 days, 50 days, 2 weeks. Sir, that is talking. So that is the pot calling the kettle black. It's okay to call out the EU for talking, but at the same time, do not think that you are the talker in chief, and that is what we are witnessing. Now, I am sure Trump has some feathers ruffled if he has heard Zelensky's statements with Sky News. Zelenskyy sitting down with Sky News prior to the statements you just heard from Donald Trump. And we need to listen to this about a couple of minutes, but powerful truth right here.
Do you believe that meeting in Alaska was a mistake?
I think it gave a lot to Putin. And I believe if it was a trilateral meeting, we would have some result.
All right, let's pause it right there. Do you think the meeting in Alaska was a success or failure? He goes, no, I think if we would have had a trilateral meeting, we would have had success from it. Let's make it very clear. There was no success that came out of Alaska other than success for Vladimir Putin.
Because Putin wanted to meet the president of the United States, Trump. He wanted to escape from political isolation.
That mission is accomplished. Since Alaska, how many places have you seen Vladimir Putin? Of course, in China. Now he's on all the news. He's on the headlines. He's going to go to this region, that region. He's at the war games today. And the world is looking at Putin a little bit differently after the Alaska meetings. It's unbelievable.
And I believe he should have paid more. He should have received a setback in this war and stop. But instead, he received de-isolation. He got photos with President Trump. He received a public dialogue. And I think this opens the doors for Putin into some other summits and formats, because that's how it is. And
And we see that, and I'll continue with that. Really, what we've seen here is the escalation of BRICS. We've seen the escalation of the narrative with China and Russia and India, South Africa, Brazil. We've seen all of these talks, these summits, the escalation of the importance of BRICS. The bottom line is, since Alaska, as Zelensky said, there has been no setback. There has been nothing but escalation of Putin's status globally. Now, for you and me, of course not, but for the world out there, they're looking differently. Oh, he sat down with Trump. Oh, they had handshakes. Oh, he rode in Trump's car. This is what Putin got. He's playing Trump like a fiddle.
We see that, we're observing this, and I don't think he paid anything for it. But he should pay, firstly, because he started the war, and secondly, because
trying, yes, to way out, finding to way out from isolation.
therefore it's very important not to give Putin this space, because otherwise he won't feel that compelled that he has to stop the war.
And that is where we're at right now. And I really appreciate Zelensky going to English there and talking about he's escaping isolation. He's not compelled to end the war. There's no reason for Vladimir Putin on this day, September the 16th, 2025, to end the war.
Because why? I mean, if he's fighting, if he's waging the war, and everyone is trying to stop him by arguing, by asking him, but instead, force should be used. He understands force. That's his language. That's the language he understands. He doesn't speak many languages, but that's the language of force he understands, just like Russian, you know, his mother tongue. And we ask very much our countries, European and US countries, to do that.
You see, this is what Zelensky understands, especially because of his background, growing up in the Soviet Union, Russian being the mother tongue. He grew up in Kryvyi Rih. He has history with the ideology of the Soviet Union. Even though he is younger, he's old enough to know the reality is Vladimir Putin only understands force. You cannot negotiate with Vladimir Putin. He must be shown force, and then after that, you can have talks. Force is not only with military, but it's economic. This is why Ukraine continues to smash and destroy the Russian economy every day, basically, with their strikes on oil, infrastructure, port infrastructure, fuel, refineries. They know that is the force that is needed.
To show that, yes, they take steps, such as sanctions, for example, but more needs to be done, quicker.
Do you think that Vladimir Putin is trying to manipulate and trick Donald Trump?
Він точно хоче.
He definitely wants to trick the US.
Okay. This is so good. So I'm sure, well, I'm not sure, but it's highly likely that somebody whispered into his ear. This question was asked to Zelensky by Sky News, and his response was, Tochna, meaning exactly. That is exactly what Vladimir Putin is trying to do. Zelensky was wise here to the United States. Of course, the implication there will be the president, Donald Trump.
He's doing everything he can to avoid sanctions, to prevent US and Trump from putting sanctions on him.
So there you have it. This is the statements of Zelensky. All of these coming within about a 24-hour window. And I'm pretty confident that somebody has at least whispered a little bit into Donald Trump's ear in regard to some of the statements that Zelensky made. And ladies and gentlemen, Zelensky, spot on. Remember the video I played earlier? It was Trump with the double standard, the double talk, the not understanding the futility of what he is doing with appeasing Vladimir Putin. Now, what does Russia do? Here's a couple of things I want to share with you. These are daytime strikes. I've been right here beside this Pharmacy University many times. I know exactly where it's at in Kharkiv. You can see the daytime strike coming in. I'm not showing you the video of the strike. I want to be able to stay on YouTube to provide you guys with news and information and updates. But you can look at the guy here in the red, circled in red. He's looking back. He sees the strike happening. So here it is incoming. Here it is with the strike. And here is aftermath. A beautiful, guys, beautiful school. And it is destroyed. You can see the rescue workers working there. It's right near the soccer pitch. Sorry, it's the soccer fields, and right there in downtown Kharkiv. Unbelievable what we are witnessing. In addition to that, Russia with another daytime strike in Kyiv, and this is on another epicenter. You may say, well, what is epicenter? Epicenter is basically a Home Depot, Lowe's on steroids, or if you're in other parts of the world, whatever your largest home supply chain store, mega mall is, these are the epicenters. This is one of the supply yards for the entire epicenter chain that is there in Kyiv, and it has been now destroyed. This is obviously a target for Russia. They have destroyed many, many epicenters. I know of, I've been to many of them, leveled. I don't know how many exactly, but it would not surprise me if it's between 8 and 12. I can start to count them out, but unbelievable devastation of epicenters. Why? Because they feel that this is the supply chain for the Ukrainian military. I've bought many things in there myself to help the Ukrainian military and to help civilians, whatever, but it's a civilian target and it happens nonstop. Finally, the thing I want to share with you is look at the numbers here. This poll coming out today, Monday, Tuesday, September the 16th, 2025. How much longer? You go from March of 22 on the far left to right now, September of 25. And Ukrainian citizens were asked, how much longer do we need to fight? How much longer? And I can tell you from my personal interactions from Ukrainians, they do not want to quit. They do not want to surrender. Even in Western Central Ukraine, Ukraine is Ukraine. All of the regions, sovereign territory, secure borders, rights to have security guarantees and defenses, rights to join the European Union if they so choose, NATO, whatever it may be. This is what Ukrainians want. But you can see even now, 62% of Ukrainians saying, hey, you take as many years as you need to finish this war, 4% saying 1 year. So you're at 66% right there saying at least 1 year. And we know the war, unless something crazy happens that is unexpected, will continue for another year minimum. 21% saying several months to half a year. So at least 62, 66, 86, 87% of Ukrainians saying at least 6 months, keep fighting, keep fighting. And then 13% are saying it's hard to say. That is not a no. It's just where they are at. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's where we're at right now. A lot happening. September the 16th, 2025. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your comments, likes, subscribe, shares, and I look forward to seeing your comments on this, especially the interaction and the words there between Trump with his statements, his double standards, and Zelensky's truth bombs today. You guys be blessed. A lot happening. We'll be back at you very soon.